Hey, welcome back to the Cardsmiths. So today we're back with some L5R LCG content. This video is going to be tailored more towards the casual player. So if you've been following along through our Learn to Play and our core set gameplay videos, there were a number of rules which have changed since the printing of the rulebook that came inside the core set we got. If you're just getting into the game now, or you have over the past half year or so during the time in which we've been making these videos, your rulebook may be out of date as well. So yeah, this video definitely, if you're a more competitive player, you're going to be aware of these changes, but tailoring this video more towards the casual player who's been following along through our series. So hopefully this will be helpful to you.
Yeah, so the first rule change to address, and probably the most impactful one in terms of game balance and even the way that your games are going to be getting played, is that the player who acts second on the first turn is no longer compensated for that by being given an additional fate.
Yeah, and that proved to be too great a reward for being the second player, and it proved to be far too great a reward to the point in which going second gave you two benefits, which was primarily you got the extra fate on the first turn. And because L5R is a game of leveraging incremental value over the course of the game, having an advantage of an extra fate on the first turn proved to be significant. But beyond that, it meant that you were then the second player, it meant that you were then the first player on the second turn, so you had the first opportunity to attack a ring with fate on it. Unless you're playing against, well, if it was core set, the Unicorn Stronghold, which let you declare the extra attack, or the Lion one, wouldn't have been there, so there would guaranteed be at least one ring with a fate on it, so you could then get that advantage as well, being the first player on the second turn.
Yeah, even without that compensation in terms of the fate, it's actually still often better to choose to be the second player on the first turn. For that very reason, you're potentially going to net yourself fate on the second turn. And in a competitive card game, you don't want it to be the case where turn order is having a strong impact on who wins the game. Like, you don't want your competitive card game to be like chess, where like if you're playing black, you're just playing for a tie because it's so unlikely that you're gonna win on aggregate. So
the higher the level of gameplay, the smaller the margin of error is. So any kind of advantage like that. I mean, now that this rule has been removed, the second player no longer gets that fate for being second player on the first turn, or that extra fate. Now you will find playing competitively that players will almost always select to be the first player on the first turn, and so it actually, I would say, contrary to what you said, it is.
Yeah, no, sorry, I explained it wrong, because the idea is you want to go first on the second turn,
but that would mean you're second on the first. It's just better to go first on the first turn, because you're going to be able to pass first, most likely, and get a fate from that. And you're also going to have the first crack at the ring. So you can either pick a ring that's going to harm them a lot, or just the ring that you don't want to be hit with yourself.
Yeah, no, sorry, and you're right, because having the person who goes first on the second turn is probably going to get that fate on the second turn, but you probably have a fate a turn earlier
that you got from passing, and you could have either used that for like an event or a conflict character,
or to play a dynasty character on the second turn. If you save it, you'll have one extra fate going into the second turn.
Yeah, that's exactly that's a good point.
Yeah, poorly explained by me, but that was what I was thinking.
Yeah, no, that's all right. And I think we've covered this one pretty well. The next one is did you want to go over that one? It's about the seeing the mulligan cards.
Yeah, so in the printed rules, the Learn to Play for earlier versions of the game, certainly, and it may say this in yours, It explicitly says if you mulligan a Dynasty card, you have to put the replacement card face down, you don't get to look at it, and then you move and draw your conflict cards without knowledge of what some of your Dynasty characters or cards are. And if you fully mulligan, you're drawing your conflict hand with no knowledge of what you're playing with. That is no longer the case. You get to look at the cards that are on your provinces, even cards that you've mulliganed onto them before you move on to the drawing of conflict cards.
Yeah, so essentially before, what that was doing is it was penalizing players for using a larger mulligan, L5R having a powerful mulligan being the selective mulligan that you can pick and choose what you mulligan, and not only that, but those cards are set aside, so you guarantee not going to redraw that copy, at least, of that card.
Well, and of course the disadvantage then being that because you're often going to mulligan from your conflict hand as well, trying to get specific cards with the knowledge of how your turn's going to play out, but it's hard to know how your turn's going to play out if you don't have a strong idea of what Dynasty card you're actually going to play.
Yeah, so the change being, like Hal said, that they have done away with not being able to see your mulligan cards, so you can now look at those cards prior to deciding on what the cards you want to mulligan from your conflict hand. Personally, I like the change. It's giving you more player control over what you're doing. You have a better idea of what your turn's going to look like when you're deciding on your conflict hand, which is huge. If you get really unlucky and you didn't get a character on any of your provinces, but because you've mulliganed and you don't know that that's the case, then maybe you're really going to be fishing for you would be really fishing for a conflict character in your conflict hand, and you at least know that, and it just gives you a little more control over what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, for thematic reasons as well, it doesn't really make sense that you don't know what characters are available to muster from your own provinces and lands that you control. So overall, I think a good change.
Yeah, because I like the theme of characters coming from the provinces within your domain, and you're recruiting them using their services. So, yeah, that's a good change as well. And then the third change, from at least our edition of the rulebook, likely yours as well, if you bought the game around the same time and have been following along, is the removal of the phase 5 of the game. That was called the regroup phase. That has now been just essentially put at the end of what was the end of the fate phase, so phase 4. So it's just been lumped in with the fate phase. Now there's only 4 phases to the game. That maybe will make it a little easier to teach someone the game for new players learning. There's 4 phases now. And the steps of the regroup phase related in ways to what the steps of the fate phase were anyway.
Well, yeah, and really there was only one step, deal with fate in the fate phase, basically by removing it or adding it to the rings. But yeah, this is a smaller change. It's not really affecting the way the game's playing at all. I mean, if you were not rigidly going through the phases, you might not even notice it because nothing has been removed from the regroup phase. There's still the 4 steps that were in it. They're now just in the same order at the end of the steps that were occurring in the fate phase.
Yeah, and I know there's one card specifically, Drogon's Curse, that when I read the write-up on why that card found its way onto the ban list, it was in a way because of the condensement of those phases and the timing of when that card was played. It became far too powerful when that change was made. But aside from that one card, like Hal said, it's not massively changing anything that's going on through the way you're playing the game. So that brings us towards near the end of the video, and there is something else that, as you saw if you're looking at the video descriptions of our core set gameplay videos, we would acknowledge errors in play and even mistakes like missing a Seeker Fate when a province is revealed and whatnot. Something that I believe we failed to acknowledge, and that is a rule that is printed in our version of the rulebook, so it would be printed in yours as well, and it's something that we just unfortunately missed, is that during the Fate phase, which was the regroup phase, now the Fate phase, towards the end of the Fate phase, cards on broken provinces are discarded. So when you're deciding the face-up cards on your provinces you want to keep during that Fate phase, the decisions you're making are on the cards that are face-up on the unbroken provinces. Cards on the face-up cards on the broken provinces are automatically discarded.
Yeah, and we certainly missed that quite a bit, I think, and obviously that is something that's going to change the way that you're playing and even the way the game's playing out, because if you get a good character or a character you know you're going to want in that kind of matchup onto a province that's already broken at the start of your dynasty phase, at the start of the turn, you know you have to play that character that turn if you want to keep it, because it's going to be discarded in that turn's Fate phase. Yeah, and then beyond that, it's punishing players who aren't succeeding in defending their provinces.
Yeah. So something I like about it too is that it's incentivizing you to break their provinces. There's a punishment for having your own provinces broken, which game-wise I like, but also thematically is rich, that you are being punished for your lands being ravaged. And also, in terms of holdings, there's some really powerful holdings in the game, and if you break their province and then that holding flips onto a broken province, you at least know that you're only going to have to deal with that holding for that one turn, unless they have a way of shifting it to another province, which they're or bringing it back from the discard pile. There's some cards that do that, but still, generally speaking, it'll be gone at the end of the turn. And it's just there's a punishment for having your provinces broken, which is nice in terms of gameplay and theme.
Yeah, and I mean, there's decks that aren't trying to win the game based on like defending their provinces, breaking the other provinces. They might be trying to win on honor, make you lose on honor. So this kind of just forces them to maybe consider or put more effort into defending their own provinces before it gets to the point where it's their stronghold, because there is now mechanical effects for those provinces being broken.
Yeah, also some decks too, like Unicorn HMT, more like rush kind of decks. Then there's at least a reward for if your deck is a really strong early game deck, but then it naturally there's a cost to that, and it'll start kind of petering out. At least if you've broken a bunch of their provinces early, maybe that gives you a bit of enough leverage and advantage to push home the win on that second, third turn, if you will. So I think that anything else to add? I think it pretty well wraps everything up.
No, I mean, those are the rules changes that we at least have become aware of, or the mistakes that we were making that we've become aware of.
Yeah. If there's something from one of our gameplay videos that you noticed and is an error, feel free to shout it out. If it's a general rule that we've missed, I don't believe that there is anything else. I feel fairly confident about that, but it's possible there's something. And don't be shy to shout that out in the comments if there's something that you've noticed.
If you like this video, if you like these kind of videos aimed at like the more casual player, someone maybe you're just getting into the game, maybe you don't play the game regularly. If you find these kind of videos useful, do go ahead and give it a like, just so we know that people are enjoying this, and these are the kind of videos we should make more of. And if you really liked it and you haven't already subscribed, we would be very appreciative if you did that. And to everyone who's already done so, thank you again.
Yeah, thanks to all the subscribers. If you are looking for even a little more content from our channel, we have and you're on Twitter, we have a Twitter account as well. We put out some FFG play and share, some pictures from some of our games. So if you're on Twitter and you're interested in a little more content, feel free to check that out as well.
Yeah, we also retweet stuff that might be relevant to either the games we cover on our channel, or like things that are pretty similar to them.
Yeah, even some games that haven't actually seen any videos yet on the channel, just made a tweet about like the Survivor TCG, so there's even some kind of extra stuff there for you if you are interested.
Yeah, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. We hope the video was useful. We hope that you're gonna come away with it with knowledge that's gonna improve your own L5R experience. And yeah, until next time, have fun with the L5R.
Yeah, enjoy your L5R games.